Australia's migration levels have fallen by almost half since the peak in 2023. That's according to a new analysis out today from the Committee for Economic Development of Australia. Joining me live is the CEDA Chief Executive, Melinda Cilento. Melinda, thanks for your time today. Migration is such a highly charged political debate at the moment. What does the data show us about where migration is tracking?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, it sits right at the heart of so many important policy conversations. And really what we're trying to do is make sure that those conversations are informed by fact and evidence so that we get the right policy outcomes, whether it's housing supply or skills for businesses that badly need them. What the data tells you is that notwithstanding the conversation around high levels of migration, we've already seen migration drop significantly from the peaks post the pandemic, and those numbers are continuing to trend down. And so whilst people want to see sustainable levels of migration, I think what we need to recognise is where we're at now, not where we have been.
Yeah, the COVID catch-up factor, when we saw that big spike in the net overseas migration number, I wonder if the problem in terms of the political centre of this is that the infrastructure, the housing pipeline hasn't kept up with that big surge, that effectively at the moment governments across the country are playing catch up to ensure that Australians are feeling like they have the services they need to keep up with our migration rates.
There's no doubt about that. And I think even though we're seeing arrivals drop, we're still actually seeing in the numbers some of the COVID legacy, if you like. So net overseas migration, of course, is a function of people coming into Australia as well as people departing. And because we had that surge that came post the pandemic, we're actually seeing departure levels still lower than they were prior to the pandemic. So that number is sort of being held up by that. So there's still a little bit of a way to go until we start seeing a normalisation, I think, in the numbers. But the fundamental point is, I think that episode taught us and told us that we've got to make sure that the services that we provide, that the housing that we're capable of building keeps pace. I guess the challenge, if you like, or maybe the sort of nuance of the circularity of this is that migrant workers help us to do just that as well.
I wanted to get to that. There's only so many levers, isn't there, in terms of that net overseas migration number? I sat through many budgets where they forecast what the overseas migration rate's going to be, and it overshoots the mark because it is hard to control how many Australians are returning home in any one year or who's deciding to leave. One area that the government's tried to target is international students, imposing caps or linking numbers to uni accommodation. Is that one way to go about things in terms of trying to keep that migration number down, but not having a detrimental effect, as you say, when it comes to crucial skills areas, jobs that we need filled from overseas migrants?
Look, I think there's so much in that question because even within the numbers around permanent migration, the government's shifting its priority to granting permanency to people who are already in Australia. So there is so much in the detail of this data. International students, of course, has been a hotspot. The government is introducing and has introduced integrity measures. That's really important, I think, not just in terms of the numbers of people coming into Australia, but because education and international education is a really important industry for us, and making sure that the integrity of that sector is maintained is important. So progress being made there, and I think we'll have to continue to see what evolves. But there's a whole bunch of other categories as well that I think when we're examining what policies are being proposed, we really need to understand the detail to form a view as to whether that we're going to get the outcomes we want.
And one of those crucial areas to get right is to ensure that we have the workforce in crucial care sector industries. You only have to go to a hospital or a childcare centre to see the brilliant migrants in this country who are working here. It's particularly stark in the data too when it comes to aged care. Explain that looming supply gap for staff that you've identified.
Yeah, well, I mean, let me just say this, that around 1 in 5 workers in the care sector and the social assistance sector are migrant workers, and in the aged care sector, around 1 in 3. Our work a little while ago looked at what is the skills gap and the worker gap that we're going to see in aged care, of course, as our population ages. It's significant. And so we do need to, of course, address that through education and training here within Australia. But with 1 in 3 workers, migrant workers in that workforce already, that has to be part of the solution. we've long advocated for an essential skills stream in the visa program, which gives line of sight to that and hopefully builds confidence in the community that that workforce is being well managed in a way that aligns with their expectations.
Melinda Cilento from CEDA, really appreciate your time and analysis today. Thank you.
Thank you.